Yeah, I've seen some posts. You know what some posts said? You know what? There be posts that are obviously, there are some posts that are obviously driven by envy. They were driven by envy, and I'll tell you what, yeah? The posts were driven by envy because, yeah, there be people who go out there and they work 9 to 5. Yeah, they work 9 to 5, they work in ordinary jobs, and then they look at some YouTubers and they be like, look at this YouTuber and he's just 8 years old. He's just 8 years old, but he receives like millions and millions of bucks. His channel is monetized. And you know what? These people, these adults, they work 9 to 5. They felt envy. It was envy. It's like, dude, this guy's just a child. He doesn't deserve millions of dollars. Or he doesn't deserve millions of dollars. Who gave you the right to tell people what they deserve or not deserve? That's God's right. You're playing God, right? It is out of envy because Jesus Christ, he said a parable. He said a parable to rebuke these people. You know what he said? He said there was an employer. The employer went outside and invited people to come and work for him. And he said, now we agreed to pay you this salary. We agreed to pay you this salary. Okay. And then for hours and hours, every single hour, he sent people out there and said, hey, look, invite people to come and work in my fields. But we agreed to pay the same amount of money for their wages. The people who worked 6 hours, for example, they were like, we worked from morning to evening. Okay, let's exaggerate this and let's say they worked 12 hours, okay? So there'd be people who worked 12 hours, okay? They worked 12 hours and they got 10 bucks. And there were people who literally came in the last hour, only 1 hour, and they were also given 10 bucks. That was in Jesus' parable. You can read in the gospel, okay? You know what Jesus said? He said, look, the people who worked for 12 hours, they were complaining. They said, look at this guy. This guy worked only for 1 hour and he's got 10 bucks just like me. I think it's unfair. It's unfair. I worked 12 hours. I worked 12 hours, but I got 10 bucks. And he went and he just worked for 1 hour and he got 10 bucks just like me. This is envy. He's complaining. He's like, why? Why he doesn't deserve 10 bucks, Yeah, or I deserve more because I worked more hours than he did. I worked harder, therefore I deserve more money. Is that so? Is that not so? I'm asking you. Right? You know what Jesus said? He said, well, that's what the employer said. The employer said, didn't you agree to the wages that I gave you? Yeah, you agreed to it, right? I told you, if you work here for this amount of hours, you get this amount of money. Right? Right? Am I wrong? Am I right? Am I wrong? Tell me. Am I right or am I wrong? Jesus said what he said. He said, the employer said, you agreed to receive this amount of wages. You agreed to work this amount of hours. When you see this person who worked for 1 hour and he got 10 bucks and you don't think he deserved it. And then now you come here and tell me and complain to me that you think it's unfair because this person does not deserve it. He deserves it because he agreed to it. The employer agreed to it. The employee agreed to it, and that's it. That's it. If you signed a contract like you want to work for somebody, right? And then they told you got to work 12 hours for 10 bucks, and you said yeah, okay, you said yes, you signed it. And when you see the person next door, when you see the person sitting next to you, working, for example, in the same position, and he only came in for 1 hour and he got 10 bucks and you're like really unhappy. It's like, why? It's unfair. How is it unfair? You agreed to it. you agreed to receiving 10 bucks for 12 hours. That's what you agreed to do, and both of you signed the contract. Why would you look at the other person and say, look, this person is working less, but he's gaining more? It's like, what do you mean? It has nothing to do with you at all. Jesus was telling people off because they are jealous, they are envy. Yeah? Because they are envious, they are jealous. Yeah? That's why they were looking at the next person and said, hey, look, this person doesn't deserve it, or I deserve more than this person, and then they complain about it. Don't complain about it. Don't complain about other people making more money by doing less. Just do your stuff. It's true, is it not? It is true. There were times when I literally was complaining about the pastors. I said, well, how come these pastors, they study the Bible less than I do? They were wrong about the Bible. They were preaching lies, and yet they make money and I don't. And I get pissed on, and I get despised, I get dissed, while the other people, yeah, those other pastors, yeah, they be preaching lies, and they be working less hard than myself. They get the money, they have social position, they have higher social position, they're in the middle class, and I'm reduced to being a benefit claimant. Like, why is that? Like, should I, like, you know what? In the past, I used to have these thoughts, but now I don't, because I believe people get what they deserved anyway. It's called karma, right? So people will always get what they deserve, and I believe it, and that's it. So the millionaires, the billionaires, I'm not going to complain about them. I'm not going to complain against them. They are rich. They got it from their past lives or whatever. Who cares about that? I don't really care about that, you know. It's all envy. It's all jealousy. It is. Like when you look at the 8-year-old and it's like, he's earning millions, but he's just 8 years old. A YouTuber who's 8 years old. He doesn't deserve the money. No, it's not for you to decide. It is never for us to decide whether the people deserve that amount of money, you know. It's up to God. Right? Have I not told you the parable? Jesus Christ said the parable himself. Do I have to repeat it again and again? I just told you before, right? Like, Jesus said, well, you agreed to the wages. You agreed to receive $10 for 12 hours. But because the next person came in and he came in for 1 hour and he got $10, and now you're pissed off. And now you're angry. now you are jealous. Now you are envious. Now you're upset because this person makes the same amount of money by doing less. Much less. Or maybe the other person earns more than you and does much less. There are always these people throughout this, like all over this world. You know, life is always unfair. Like, but actually it is fair. You may believe it's unfair, but it's actually fair. If we're talking from a Buddhism, like the perspective of Buddhism, it's always fair. Because why? Because it's always about your past lives. It is. Like I've talked to you about Christianity, I'm gonna talk to you about the Buddhist logic. If you are rich in this life, if you were rich in this life, according to Buddhist logic, you probably worked very hard in your previous life, and so now you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor in this life, right? Like, am I wrong? Am I right or wrong? Like, if you were Buddhist, you would know what I'm talking about. It's like you must have worked really hard. Yeah? You must have worked really hard in your past life. Yeah? In order for you to be so rich in this life. So if you're asking me like, oh yeah, Alex Fong is a millionaire, are you going to complain about Alex Fong being very rich? It's like, no, why should I complain about him being very rich? I mean, he earned it in a past life. If I believed in Buddhism, you know, I would dare say he earned it in a past life. So if somebody won the lottery jackpot and you'd be like, hey, look, she didn't do anything, she just won the lottery jackpot. I was like, I tell you what, you know what? It's not, luck doesn't exist in Buddhism. It doesn't. It just means that he or she, yeah, worked very hard in a past life, and now he or she got the rewards in this life. But then you guys be so envious. It's just not cool. It is not cool. Like, whether from a Buddhist perspective or from a Taoist perspective. And from a Taoist perspective, it's just completely like nonsensical for you to be complaining about people earning more money than you do, because Taoism is about being natural, being innocent, being like a baby. Essentially, pure Buddhism is about returning to your infant state, that you're as pure as a baby. If you're as pure as a baby, you ain't gonna complain about people making more money, because it's none of your business anyway. Just be a baby. Just be a baby. Yeah. In Buddhism, in Taoism, you're just being yourself. Just be yourself. Be natural as yourself. So being yourself doesn't mean being just like everyone else. It's just like, being yourself is as simple as just being yourself. It's like there's no better explanation than that. It's like you just do whatever comes naturally to you. So whether in Buddhism or Taoism or Christianity, I dare say the same thing. Like, if you envy the other person because he's just 8 years old, why does he deserve the $1 million? Or he won the lottery, and you'll be like, he didn't do anything, but he got it. 不勞而獲, that's what you say. Is it? There is no such thing as 不勞而獲 in this world. If you believe so, it's because you are deluded. It is. Gambling is actually a high-risk activity. You essentially invest the money into it. You put money into it, and you put more money into it, and then you put even more money into it, and people get addicted. People get addicted, and then they fall into the trap. You know what? But there is always a winner. Somebody's gonna win. Somebody's gonna win, but it's not gonna be you. That's why people are envious. That's the point. But I tell you, from whichever perspective you try to put it in, there's no such thing as 不勞而獲. It's something that you see superficially, like on the surface. You think it's 不勞而獲, but actually it isn't. Like I said, gambling is high risk. Yeah, most people lose more than they gain. I'm telling you, it's really high risk, because you're putting money into it, and you put a lot of money into it until you win. Most people are like this, and most people, I tell you, never win big. Only very few people can win more than they lose in gambling. Yeah, they call it a game of chance for a reason. Like you can't. There's no way to cheat the system, because if you do cheat the system, people are gonna come after you. Yeah, they're gonna come after you. Like in casinos, for example. Like if you cheat, and they find out, it's gonna be like a violent consequence if they catch you cheating.